Hello, everyone, and welcome to our NemoVote video podcast. Today, I've brought my very special guest who's going to share some insights and experience with how they used NemoVote. We've worked together for a couple of times, like a million times. It felt like that last year, and it was always a joy. So feel free, Signe, to introduce yourself.
Well, thank you, Erin. I've been very excited to try this podcast here with you today. My name is Signe. I'm from Denmark, and my client is from Denmark and hopefully in the Scandinavian soon. I've been working with the digital election for about 3 years now, and my client has been all from NGOs, private companies, volunteering associations, also the headquarters of multiple. So it's all different kinds of clients I've been having here to have a election with different of the results, different of the experience of the clients, how they felt like. I've been the admin to the platform and a consultant at the same time. So that has been very interesting to look into different organizations and help them to try to see why this is a good idea. Many of them, it's been the first time tried this year. So it's also been a funny experience of a different and new world. So I learned a lot from all my clients, and it's a very interesting subject here.
Yeah, thank you for that introduction. You're like a election manager for your clients, right?
I am, yeah. So I get all their information into me. So I upload everything and help them to have a pleasant and relaxed experience of the election, because it's too complicated for many of my clients to do themselves, and also just of the security matter that their members feel more secure of having a person outside that has nothing to do with the company. So for them, it feels more relaxed and secure for them to have someone that's nothing to gain of the election.
Yeah, I've learned that there's quite a lot of customers that are just not feeling secure enough to do it themselves. So, I mean, there's a very special business case for being the election manager for the customer as a third party. So could you tell us something about the elections you've organized in the past years or past year, and maybe a bit of the customers you typically work with?
Yes, just my last voting I did here a couple of weeks ago is a client I've been having for 3 years. I started with the client on a different platform, which didn't work that well. So we switched over to NemoVote, which was much better for them because they are about 500 members that's going to be sitting on the platform. And the reason why they contacted us a few years ago was because of some of the members was insecure about their own system. It was able to resend forward the link. So the members found out that they could vote multiple times, which is a huge problem. And this specific organization is in a transformation time where a lot of things is happening. So it's just very, very secureness is a huge issue for them because it's financially problems, it's organization problems, and there's a lot of turn on and switch over constantly all the time. So for them, it's important we have a good dialogue of what has happened since last time we made the voting and what is important for this voting here. So that's always how we start out. And I love that we can just continue switching over of uploading their members file, because that changed so many times. Mm-hmm. So that's a frequently question. Are you sure this is the correct list? And the answer is always no. So, like a couple of minutes before, as you might have noticed now, then we are finally on the correct side where all the data is the correct. And then we can eventually start with the actual voting. And so when the voting is started, everything is very smooth. There's not a lot of issues. We started 3 years ago where there would be like 100 people where could get on the platform. Mm-hmm. And now we're down to 4 or 5. So we have really changed. NemoVote has involved a lot and has helping out some of the small issues. But also the members has been really good at learning the platform. And it's been really good at getting on the platform and just get their voting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is one of my biggest clients because it's very complicated. The other ones is very smooth, so not any issues.
Genius. It's always last minute.
It is always last minute, which is very funny, but it does give me a few gray hair once in a while.
Yeah.
And we always end up to having a really good experience. The board a couple of years was very insecure about this was the correct solution, not for themselves, but for the members. They were a bit scared if they would actually do so. There has been a lot of question about, is it secure enough? It's quite typical that at least 2 or 3 members is trying to convince me that they haven't got the email invite, that it's not the correct information, and they're trying to forward to a different email. So they always try just a little bit. So it's very nice to see that the NemoVote is actually working as it's supposed to do, with not possible to have 2 same people voting at the same time.
I mean, that's one of the key reasons to use NemoVote, to have a secure election tool. When the security topic comes up, what are you telling the voters or the members that are coming up with that issue?
But most of the time, my contact person by the organization is where we take it from now on, because we also learned from the first couple of votings that we did that people could contact me directly. And there was just too much chit chat in that, which was very nice. But as we talked about after the votings, it just takes too much time for me to sit there and learn about them and how they, the beautiful weather. There was a lot of things like that. So now they have a legal security email in their own organizations. Mm-hmm. So they start emailing them. And if they can't answer the questions, they will forward it to me and ask me, how do we respond to this? And that could, for example, be, I have a Hotmail email and I haven't received it. That was one of the frequently questions that we had in the beginning. Yeah. And we have fixed that on NemoVote, thank you. But that is a Hotmail that we use a lot in Denmark. The other could also be that I'm not receiving it, but it says in the system they have. Mm-hmm. That is the most common question. Have you checked your spam? Have you checked your deleted post? And in the beginning, it was always the same answer. Of course I have. And I gave them a call, spoke with them, very easy, smooth, and guided them into their email and checked it out. And of course, it turned out to be in the deleted or in the spam. We always found it. So the client and the voters always ended up being really happy because they could see it was actually true, what I told them.
Yeah. And I remember, especially in the beginning, we did have that issue that some email client providers just directly put it into spam, or the emails didn't even, go into those Hotmail inboxes. Mm. Do you think this has been resolved? Is that still an issue that the emails are still coming into the spam?
No, it has been 100% resolved. Absolutely. It's not even an issue. We had like 200 mails with that issue in the beginning. Mm. And as I said before, that we don't have one single person that have the issue because it's a Hotmail. Yeah. Yeah. It can be a full inbox. It could be their own private security system in their own company, which is also sometimes an issue. But now they tried it multiple times. So the email system, they recognize it now. So we don't have those issues. And that is the type of clients that I have the most, is that they continue coming back to me and NemoVote because I know the system now. I know the organization, so I know exactly what kind of challenges do we have. I know what they need to hear from me, so I can come up with the answers just before that they start getting anxious about something.
I mean, that's very important. I believe the most important job for you is to be like their support, their mental support, right? It's all about security.
Absolutely. This is their baby. We see just as an organization, they have to vote yes or no. But for them, it's just much more, especially with this organization. They have animals and people love animals. And it's always very important to have them secured. So it's a very unique issue for them. And they have to be taken seriously. Otherwise, they just start feeling insecure immediately.
Yeah. How do you, before you've used NemoVote, have you done online elections before?
I have, yeah, on a previous work that I had, which is not there anymore. But that was not long elections. That was like a general assembly. So we had a one night where we were making the votings online.
Yeah, like live voting.
Yeah, or hybrid, for example. Yeah.
How did that change then starting using NemoVote?
Well, the way NemoVote has been made, It just works much easier with 100% online. I haven't tried the hybrid version yet, but for me, there is like uploading the different voters on it. It's very, very easy to work with, and you can very easily just redo it multiple times. It's not something that takes a long time. Some of the things that I used to miss as well on the other platform was that I can see exactly how many votes each person have.
Mm-hmm.
I can easily change it if something has happened, if it's the wrong data, they have sent it to me. I can very easily, with just 2 seconds to click, and I've changed it. So every time I hear from my client, it doesn't take us more than 30 seconds just to change what needs to be changed. And that is a huge part of me helping them, because it's so important for them to feel that it's not a big problem.
Yeah.
It's not a big issue. We just do it. And that I feel NemoVote is really, really good at when you have the voting online. Of course, there's still some features I would like to have when you as an admin, when you're starting the voting, but that's a different story.
I mean, the question is coming, so just go ahead. Just tell us, like, what features are you still missing in NemoVote? What would you like to have us, in 2025, 2026 tackling next?
Yeah, of course, I'm hoping to have much more of these type of election here, where I'm the third party to have the votings. In that matter, some of the issues that I'm having, it takes too much time for me to start up the platform for them. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of things with NemoVote now, so of course a lot of things are easier for me. But the preview of the welcome page, for example, mm-hmm. that helped a lot. But I would like to have the same part for the invitation, and not just a preview for me, but it could be nice to have a preview and forward a testing email to my client's board or the legal advice or whoever is the contact person for me. Because this is some of the things that it's very important for the client to know exactly how does it look like, because for them, that is their fingerprints onto it. This is a matter for them that we have to make sure it was the right choice for us to use a third part.
Yeah.
And the invite is the first show that they have. So that's just the most important part. And I don't know exactly how things always look like when I send out the invite. And that could be nice to have, so it's not an issue.
I mean, that's a very good point. And to be fair, when this video is coming online, I believe we already have that feature open, because we've talked about that in the past.
Fantastic. We have talked about it. Absolutely. And that is what I love about your team, As soon as I have just the small little things that I would like to have, you just make a plan of when it makes sense to have it into the platform. I love that. Thank you.
So what we'll be able to do, so for our viewers, in NemoVote, you're able to invite users and give them basically their credentials.
Yes.
There's also another possibility coming up, also in the next release, also going to be interesting for you, Signe. It's called Magic Links, where you just receive a link to the vote, you click on it, and you'll be instantly able to vote without using any credentials. But for the users that still want to have credentials, like a username and a password, what's going to happen for the user invitation email? So every administrator is able to, give their fingerprint, as you mentioned, a little bit to that user invitation email. It's going to be fully possible to make it yourself. So as of now, you can change, I think the subject of the email and some part of the email, because you need to always send out the credentials, of course. And we'll be able to we'll add a feature which is basically involving to send emails within NemoVote. Just plain emails with text, with pictures to a voter list. And you'll be able to do it to you too. So you'll always have a preview, and you'll see how it looks for you.
Fantastic. The preview, I love that, because it's just sometimes you think you write something that looks nice, but all platform and everything you work with, it always acts a little bit differently of how is the enter, how much space there is between the words and all of these things. For me, it's always a good thing just to check it out with a preview as well. If I copy, because a lot of the times I have the text from my client, this is what they would like to have. And I don't know what happened, but sometimes they just send me things in a really weird setup. So it looks completely different when I put it into the email, and some of the times, because there can always be a bug when you have a platform. You might think you know everything, how it acts like, but then suddenly you just do something differently, as we have tried before as well. That means that it's not working as it's supposed to do. Yeah.
Have you, like, coming from your clients and talking about how you are doing it for them, have you received any feedback from them regarding NemoVote and like what makes them using NemoVote important for them?
Yes, I have. Each time that we've been having a voting, we always had the feedback from the board. But the chairman has actually the last couple of times made a huge compliment of the way we that NemoVote works, but especially also by my work, is that I'm always prepared of, like, we had like a month ago, 9 o'clock in the evening, we had an email. Well, my contact person had an email, like a huge danger, this is secureness problem and we have to deal with this immediately. And it was just, oh my God. And he called me, it's like, oh my God, the house is fire. We need to do this. What is happening? Like, okay, let's hear. And it was very basic. It was not an issue to the platform. It was just the secureness of the person feeling secure of what happened.
Yeah.
And it was the first time he was using a new email. Mm-hmm. So we had to set up a very specific email sentence of making everyone, because he sent it out to 40 people. Mm-hmm. So it was a huge alert, and my contact person was just spamming with text. What's happening? Is NemoVote not secure anymore? It was quite fun because basically there was nothing to it. But that was a very typical timing why it's important for some types of organization to have a third party, because I could look at the bigger pictures, very cool, and knowing everything was okay. This was just a matter of a concern that I have to alert myself to, and everyone turned out to be happy. I got feedback, that it was nice to know again that the platform works like it's supposed to do. The email was there; it wasn't disappeared. No one has tried to steal it or delete it or whatever it was that he was concerned about. So he found the email, and a couple of hours later, he made his vote, and he was happy. And the rest of the board was very happy about the way we handled the situation, and I was very happy about that.
I mean, it always comes that these topics are super urgent, and I'm very happy that it was a super urgent topic, but that has been resolved, like, basically when the request was sent to you already. Like, it never
Absolutely
was really an issue.
Yeah. It could have been resolved in 30 seconds if I would just call the person immediately and tell, okay, go to your email, make a search for all mail, and you'll find it directly there. And he did that after he's been, muggling a little bit, but he found it and there was no issue. So, yeah.
I mean, 90% of the tickets that any one of us receives, I guess, is always these, right? Like,
yeah.
That's also just part of the job, taking care of the voters and their regards.
Exactly. And that is the part what I love. I find I love making people happy so that they feel secure about what they're doing. It's so nice because people just get like, this is fantastic. It's amazing. And I was like, okay, well, it's not a big deal, but for them, it was huge. And they're just so amazed of how could you do that? But that's the world of the digital worlds, and everything makes more computer and online. And it's a new world. So for people that hasn't been on that time, it's just very important for them to have this experience here. Mm-hmm. That it's not a huge deal. I know it can be frightening, but
So we've talked a lot about how voters are using NemoVote.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me a bit about how you as administrator are using NemoVote? Like, what's the learning curve when you start an election? How is that for you? How's that working?
I've been a lot of experience from the votings I've been doing, especially with the good dialogue with you and your team has been a huge help for me to understand of how many ways can I go. Also for me to understand what type of clients can I go out and help with this type of platform here. Also of what knowledge that and experience I already have. How can I help with it then? And how can I put that into the platform? And I think it's a huge part of that we can have this dialogue. So every time I see something, because you work differently in countries as well, mm-hmm. as you might also have noticed that my clients have a little slide of different issues and needs, but we come across of that. And I learned, how can I use the platform as it is right now? And how can we help it out for next time? So it's just easier to work around with. And then, of course, I have my checkup list from, every time, especially when you upload it, the list, just make sure always to have a checkup of, is there any icons that make sure that you haven't sent it out to the voters? Because this is things that the clients does not think of. So this is something I have to remind them of, that why does this person not receive the email? Is it old? Is it the default? Is it incorrect? A full inbox? All of these things is something I have to inform the client of, that they need to check up, because I can't do that because I'm a third party.
Yeah, but NemoVote tells you, right?
NemoVote tells me, well, there was a default, but beside of that one, it does tell me normally, yeah. I'm very good at finding the default.
Now, what do you think, like, how long does it take you nowadays that you're very familiar with NemoVote to open an election, create and open an election? And what do you think, how long did it take you in the start? Like, what's the learning curve for you?
Oh, wow. It took me it took me a day when I started.
Mm-hmm.
Over a few days, but it took me a working day to work out now. And now I can set up an election in 1 hour.
Yeah. I mean, that's also very, I hope that's part of that is also because NemoVote got easier.
It is, but also of my learning curve, as you mentioned, because I know now exactly what I need to ask the client to send me. I also know exactly if this is their need, that we have to have it in 1 hour. Then I also know if, I need this information here, otherwise it's not possible. Yeah. So that is up to you. In the beginning, I couldn't say like that because I wasn't quite sure if it was possible after 1 hour. But now I know exactly, you need to send me this first. Yeah. So we can send up these things here, invite emails, a welcome page, most important part, so they can accept it, the board. Maybe sometimes I have like 5 people that needs to accept the email invites and the welcome page. Yeah. That takes time. So I know what data is most important, and I know that it's only take me 1 second to upload the list. That is like that doesn't matter. That takes 2 seconds now. Yeah. Oh, whatever. Well, I have 700. Yeah, that's okay.
Now, as you're like a third party between the organizations and us, what do you think, like, on a bird's eye view, where elections are evolving to? Like, what's going to happen in the next years? Do you see a trend coming?
I think we will be having more election online platform now. In Denmark, I know the government is also starting to have more a dialogue about why it is important. Like, the government actually have a digital part now, where the only things that they discuss in this part of is how to make our country more digital. Yeah. Private industry, also in the volunteering industry, because even though this organization works with volunteeringly, when you work down the organization steps, a lot of the companies have like huge amount of money that they need to work around with. And as you might know, in Germany, it's becoming a bigger issue that the chairman is a chairman in 5, 6, 7 different places, so they can make inside trail, inside knowledge. So I think that the years coming by, we will see a bigger need for it. Also, with the cheating in elections, I see becoming a even bigger problem. Mm-hmm. On a different platform I used to use before, there was actually someone in the organization that broke into the coffers to try to break into the computer to see if they could change the election.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And that was an NGO.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and this is just one story, because we hear that in the media in Denmark, that is just becoming a bigger and bigger problem.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. I think Estonia is the first and still only country that allows like governmental voting also online. I see that there's a trend internationally to broaden or widen the scope and also allow, at least on a country level, like e-voting for voting. But there's also like countries in Europe where they're allowing like online voting for like part of the government. Education system. That voting now for who's going to be the director of the school. So that's very interesting for me to see. It's also great that we see like a similar trend. Like I'm not that far away, actually, the customers.
Absolutely not. The interesting part is that the country that Denmark will be equally like with our transformation and our involvement in our in a community. Digital involvement is actually where Denmark is behind. Sweden and Norway is way ahead of that. So we really need to step up here because we have the same issues. The problem is still there. It's just, I think it's just to, take the first step. It feels very dangerous to do so.
True. I mean, having the wrong system, having the wrong platform, it also would be dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the price range has also been a huge issue because there is different platform as well. But when they started to come across here in Denmark, they were extremely expensive. Yeah. So it was only private in a company that could afford to pay these platform here. Yeah. And so even though that smaller organization felt the need and could see how it would work for them, they didn't have the financial to it. So that has also been a different issue to it.
That changed in the past?
It changed a lot because the companies, well, they know it, but also the platforms that makes these here also acknowledge that we need to put the price down here. Yeah. Plus, we learn a lot, as you might know, is in NemoVote that what we knew 5 years ago was a lot more expensive, but what we know today is not even that price range anymore because we continue getting better in everything.
It's also part of scaling for us in NemoVote. I mean, 5 years ago, we've had like just a small amount of customers. And of course, we still had a lot of costs, so we had to have higher prices. But we've always been like we've always tried, as we are focusing on NGOs, to be on the lowest possible price. But of course, as the more customers you have, the more you can have the cost, how do you say it? Like it's shared between. Yeah. And of course, now and actually, there's also probably interesting for you for test platform. We're offering now a freemium version, like a free version of NemoVote that's coming in summer this year. Small customer groups, for example. So
nice.
You'll get to see that too.
Fantastic.
Because you mentioned like it's as of right now, it is sometimes hard to start a new platform for you as a third party because you always need to, you need to ask us, can you open a new platform? We take care of that. You'll be able to fully do it yourself.
Exactly. And that would be just a huge help as well, because then between my clients, I could just sit up and make elections and votings and do all of that kind of things. Also with the language that we talked about, that even though the word in English makes perfect sense, then when you translate it directly to Danish, it's like, okay, that does not work that well here. But things like that is just easier to do with a testing platform, so the client will never see that a word is really completely off. And that will, of course, makes more happy clients, and I will get more people that would choose the platform again and pass it on to other ones as well.
Yeah. Like we're getting close to the end now. Like 2 questions I still have.
Yeah.
What's your most beloved feature in NemoVote? Like, what do you like the most in NemoVote?
Definitely uploading with the Excel file. Absolutely. I love that. I didn't have that on my previous platform. It was just a nightmare. So that is absolutely my best feature ever. And also that you can change individual afterwards if you just have one person that is wrong or off. So you don't have to delete everything each time. That is absolutely, because that is what takes time.
Yeah. True.
We have like 2,000 members. Oh my God. Well, yeah, I need like 4 or 5 weeks for this, but this just, when it just takes literally just push, upload it. Yeah.
I like that a lot too. I'm very glad that we have such a great developer team that always come up with those great features. And I mean, the bulk upload is a great feature. I think so too. I also like the graphical voting now that we've just released.
I do as well. Oh my God. I'm so happy you mentioned it, Aaron. Thank you. My client was just up in the air. It was amazing. They loved it. Absolutely. I was, as I mentioned it, I was sitting, you're just saying that for making me say it again, Aaron. I know that. But I was sitting online on the platform, and then it just came a little pop-up. It's like, oh, we had an upload for you. And I said, okay. And that was it. And it was there.
Yeah.
It took 2 seconds, and it didn't interrupt me in my work. I was just sitting there still typing in. 2 seconds waiting time. There it happened. It was there. So it was a perfect timing, and it looked amazing.
Yeah.
And I was chatting with my client at the same time, like, oh, you need to see this here. And I sent a picture for him. It's like, that's fantastic. Can we have that when the election is done? Absolutely. And the board head was happy. The chairman texted us like, oh, no, it's fantastic. Yeah.
I did ask that question just so you can tell the story.
You did so. I know. But that is good. I completely forgot about it, but I did love that. Absolutely. Because that is something that you can understand, you know.
Yeah.
All have learned about those numbers and graph when in school. So everybody can understand that. And if you have really wants to have a good, strong answer from your members, it looks much better.
Yes. So for the voters, NemoVote used to always tell the voting results in a table, just with numbers. And just, I think last month or like 2 months ago, something like that. But very recently, we've upgraded or updated to a new feature that now offers graphical voting results, where you can see it in a bar chart or a pie chart, or you can basically decide yourself.
Yeah. I love it. Let's have a different meeting about that, Aaron, because I have a different, small, tiny little asking for that. It's not a big deal, but it's just, I love it so much. It's just going to be nice. Could we just add that one into it?
Now, last question. Would you recommend NemoVote to other election organizers?
Absolutely. As long as just remember to use me as a third party. But no, I would for sure. Absolutely. And I would feel 100% secure of also recommending of other companies just to use it themselves, because it is a platform where you don't need to have the third party. You can do it yourself, and then you can always book me to have a touring around.
Perfect. About you want to share with your experience with NemoVote?
My experience with NemoVote? Well, happy. I think it's a nice platform. It's very easy to use. Good dialogue with the support team. Really important. I'm happy that you continue seeing that it's evolving, that it's not just the same. So every time I log into the platform, there's just a tiny little thing to make it more smooth, make it look nicer. Which is also important. I think it's a good journey that NemoVote is on here, and I'm looking forward to continue working with you.
All right. Thank you, Signe. It was a pleasure talking to you again.
All right. Thank you too, Aaron.
Sharing your insights in this video podcast today. And let's hear soon. Looking forward to it.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.